All right, Coach, fall camp is here. What are you looking forward to most about this program in 2025 and 2026?
Well, I'm excited that we get to have 20 hours a week with them now. This is probably the latest we've started in probably quite a while, just because a lot of injuries from the summer last year. A lot of guys through this summer. So a lot of it was predicated on health.
Yeah.
But it also gave us, 5 or 6 weeks to really dig deep in terms of kind of pitch arsenal in the bullpen, stuff with Coach Mo of how he wants his offense to be ran. And I'm just super excited that we're out here. We get 20 hours a week with them, and we get to start trying to get a little bit better today. And hopefully by the end of the fall, we're a lot better so that we can, get into January and kind of hit the ground running.
Last fall, you chose to not do any scrimmages. You got 2 on the books for this fall. Did something shift philosophically, or was that just you wanted to get some reps with against different teams this year?
Well, I think last year, we had 22 pitchers, and so we were able to play a ton of inter-squad games. Yeah. And with not knowing, we had a lot of new faces offensively. We had a lot of new faces on the mound. So I thought I think Stroh probably had 70 at-bats last fall against live competition. I think that helped him out a ton, and Noah and Nolan, all those freshmen, all those younger guys. And then on the same side of things with the pitchers, when you have that many guys, if you play a fall game, usually what ends up happening is each guy's going to go 1 inning. So when you do it, you want to do it at the beginning of the fall because everyone's going an inning. It doesn't screw up the pitching in terms of how you're trying to build them up as the fall goes on. But we're probably only play 14, 15 innings in fall games. So now all of a sudden you got 8 guys that aren't getting game action. And so last year we felt like it wasn't in our best interest to do it. This year, our roster is 34, right? You have 17 position players, 17 pitchers. And so you have some guys that are banged up in terms of coming in that weren't healthy. So for us, we just felt like this is a great opportunity this year to be able to play somebody else where they're throwing 14 guys against our 14 guys. And you kind of get the ability to get some game action and to get some guys opportunities in a great environment on next Friday, and then to do it again here against Texas State when we play Baylor the next day, a home football game. So I think all in all, it was better for our team this year to do it. Next year, there's talk of it maybe doing 4 fall games. Every year is kind of different. We just got to analyze kind of in the summer what we want to do.
And talk about the mix of that group that you have coming back this year, or just in all newcomers.
Yeah.
Returners.
Well, we only have 6 freshmen. Last year was a big freshman class. This year we only have 6, and I think we have 8 transfers. So if my math is right, that's 14. So our roster, we have 20 returners. So you have a great mix, I think, of guys that are upholding the standard of our program, that are returning, guys like Brunson and those freshmen and Louis Rodriguez and guys like that are holding the standard of the program. But then you have a bunch of new guys that are talented and guys that have done it at other programs as well. So I think it's a great mix, but you really never know until you start playing somebody else. And we'll get a little look at how guys react to it next Friday.
You mentioned Louis returning. How nice is it to get kind of a safety net there in the both the bullpen or the starting pitcher?
Well, I know. I mean, sometimes I'm like, why aren't we starting this guy? He was probably one of our most valuable, if not our most valuable pitcher last year, just because of everything that he can do. We're going to put him in bubble wrap, I think, this fall. He's going to throw 3 innings all fall, one on this Thursday, and then 1 against A&M Friday, 1 against Texas State, and then we're going to lock him in a closet and put a bubble wrap on him. But he's doing awesome. He's got some internship stuff. He's close to graduating, so it's a perfect fall where we know who he is and what he can do. So he's going to lead more by kind of being that extra coach as opposed to kind of showing how to go out and do it.
When it comes to the guys you did add in the portal, you mentioned you added 8 guys. Were you looking for anything in particular, or were you trying to fill a couple different gaps? What was the strategy there?
Well, the previous year, I want to say almost every single one of our guys from the portal was a freshman that was coming into their sophomore year. This year, we wanted to add guys that have kind of done a little bit more, a little bit older, that we could put with that young nucleus that's coming back. So we have some guys that that have done it. Ethan Thomas just walked by. He did it at Hawaii last year. Really good out of the bullpen. We feel like he can start. Tanner Seguspy is another guy that has been kind of a closer for Cal Poly San Luis Obispo for a couple years, so he's kind of pitched in some of those situations. Another guy, Walter Quinn, who was at Grand Canyon the last 3 years, actually the last 4 years, but only pitched the last 3 years, was the closer for them. So a lot of times when you get in the portal, those starters, kind of like when you look at free agency in Major League Baseball, they're expensive. And, it is what it is, but, the relievers maybe not quite as expensive. And for what we're trying to do and kind of our budget and everything, we felt like adding, especially early on, some of those guys that we can really slot in terms of the bullpen, because we feel, obviously great with a lot of the guys that are returning. And then another big piece, they are all big, but Lance Davis, he didn't even pitch at Arkansas last year, but a lot of depth there. Had a great summer in the Cape, was I think maybe an all-star, one of their top prospects in the Cape. We're expecting big things from him, giving him the opportunity, 5 pitches for strikes, knows what he's doing. So that's a lot of fun. So there's some relievers, there's some starters in there. And then, the first time, I don't remember the last time, well, I do. I think it was Jake Gunther was our last left-handed throwing first baseman. So Rob Liddington from University Incarnate Word had a great year last year, 15 stolen bases, 15 homers, really athletic, strong, right-handed hitter. But left-handed thrower, so he's probably, we haven't had that type of first baseman in a while, and it's pretty fun to be able to see kind of him picking it over there at first.
You think about some of the voids left by, specifically Tony at shortstop. How do you plan on addressing some of those infield spots this year?
Sure, I mean, you got quite a few, Bowen and Tony and Cademan Parker and his leadership and everything on the mound, and Ben, even though he didn't pitch last year. There's a handful of guys that were in the program a long time and, made it to the College World Series. But the great thing, or the negative, depending how you look at it, is every team's completely different. And, kind of having some of those older guys now gone. See, I told you we weren't out of the way of batting practice. But now it gives the opportunity for leadership and the voice to move to maybe somebody else that maybe wouldn't have had that opportunity as much because those guys are now gone. Strosniders and Nolan Traeger and Louie, and even though Louie was last year, but it gives a lot of guys more opportunity to kind of step into that role, which I'm excited for. And I think the big thing I'm excited for is we only have 34 guys, where we probably could have had 43 or 44. But, the rule is you got to have 34 guys on your roster by December 1st, which is the new rule. It used to be by the first day of practice, you'd have to have your roster cut down. Last year, you had to have it cut down to 40. This year, you have to cut it down to 34. So we entered this fall with 34 guys. And so they're going to weights four times a week at 6 in the morning, blood, sweat, and tears, grinding out here. And it's going to be the guys that are on the ball club come December 1st. So, Lonnie and I down in the bullpen, sometimes we look around after we're done throwing, guys are throwing bullpens, and we're like, was that it? Because you're used to having, 40, 45 guys and 23 pitchers. So that's been a breath of fresh air.
When you think about the roster cut down, how far in advance do you feel you started preparing? I mean, you only took 6 freshmen, 8 guys out of the portal. So this had to have been at least a year-long endeavor to try and get down without even knowing when the settlement was actually going to go through.
Correct.
What was that challenge like?
Yeah, that was definitely in the back of our minds, in terms of what we wanted to do. The other thing that played into that is, we could have had what's called DSAs, which is designated student athlete, which guys that were on last year's team could come back. If you designate them, they could come back and not count against your 34. And that was by the judge to allow kids who would have maybe had to go elsewhere to be able to stay in the program. And so we did DSA guys, so we could have taken more guys on, but we felt like, some of the guys we had last year that were freshmen that didn't pitch, or guys that were kind of buried on the depth chart, we could have had them back. But we felt like if we were maybe not going to have them around after December 1st, we felt like it was a disservice to them, because then they would have had to go to junior college, which isn't a bad thing. But now, because we, let them know what their situation was, they were able to go to a Northwestern or a Illinois State or a Long Beach State. So you had guys that landed on their feet at 4-year programs, and that's what this is about. It's not about stockpiling kids. It's about giving guys opportunities. And so we felt great with our 34. We just got to stay healthy. And but it's we're looking forward to it.
What about the two guys going in the Hall of Fame, Wilson and Carpenter? That's got to be pretty special for you.
Yeah, we were there. It was a phenomenal night just with Carp and Pimo. I think that was probably, Pimo with a mic is probably one of the things that he probably dreads the most. He's not the most, guy to jump in on the stage and grab a mic, but he did awesome in terms of telling his story, a walk-on from North Carolina that was, arguably in college, one of the greatest pitchers at TCU, maybe even the country, in terms of what his resume looked like. And then obviously Carp, after a brilliant major league career, kind of having to delay the Hall of Fame for him when he was still playing, to go into this class. I mean, one of the better classes maybe ever, just because of, those two guys and a guy like, Coach Patterson going in. It was a special night for sure.
All right, Tommy, year 2 here for you at TCU. Just what did you work on this offseason, and what are your goals for this fall?
Yeah, I think it was a really productive offseason. I feel like I got a little bit bigger, stronger, faster, which is always a good thing. Getting to go to Team USA was a great opportunity to go hang out with a week with some of the best players and coaches in the world. So just getting an opportunity to go learn from those guys was really cool. And I mean, this fall, I feel like we're taking a little bit more of a kind of a, I don't even know how to say it, but just not as much of a competitive approach. And Lowe says that he kind of wants to slow me down and work a lot in bullpens on pitch design, stuff like that. So I'm not sure how much you'll be seeing me in the scrimmages during the fall, but we're going to be in there working all the time and just going to work on picking up a cutter and just, making all the other stuff consistent.
You guys obviously ended your season up in Oregon.
Sorry.
You ended your season up in Oregon. What did you guys learn from that experience up there?
Yeah. Sorry, I can get back into your show. I feel like that's a big learning experience. Obviously, going into playing off baseball and getting 2-0 bounced, I think left a sour taste in all of the returners' mouths. And man, we can't do that again. So I feel like we learned a lot of, trying not to get sped up. I feel like we run into 2 really good and 2 really hot teams in USC and Oregon State. And, obviously Oregon State went on to make a run in a College World Series. But, I think that we're a team that believes we could have competed with them last year. So, I thought we went in there and just had 2 bad games, and it was tough. But I think we learned a lot about who we are and what to focus on and how we're going to bounce back and be better this year.
When you look at last year for you specifically, kind of what do you take away from last year and your performance going into this one?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot about myself. I learned how to compete in this conference and how to keep my emotions in check a lot better. And I feel like I learned that we got a heck of a team behind me that's going to make a lot of plays. So, I'm excited to get back to playing with these guys. I think we're gonna play fast, we're gonna play fun, we're gonna play hard, and I think we're gonna be a gritty team that's going to give you 9 hard innings, and I think we're going to be tough to beat.
How do you manage the expectations that come with TCU baseball? Obviously, last season didn't end the way you wanted to,
right.
But it looks like you guys are going to be a preseason top 10, top 15 kind of ball club. How do you manage that kind of expectation?
I feel like it's what we expect of ourselves. I feel like it's nothing that it's nothing out of the ordinary, because that's how we view ourselves. We view ourselves as a top team that should be going to Omaha every year. That's the way that we train. That's the way that we carry ourselves. That's the way that we do everything, is as a team that should be ranked that high. So I don't feel like there's any added pressure. At the end of the day, rankings don't mean anything, and we're gonna go out and play ball. I feel like Los did a great job of going and getting the guys we needed. I think we got the 34 right guys, and I think we're gonna be a scary team.
As far as some of those new faces, the freshmen and some of those transfers, just what have you learned about them so far? How do you think they're going to fit in with the rest of the guys?
Yeah, they're a very mature group, which was, I think, a great idea out of Los, going and getting because we got a lot of older guys, and even our younger guys aren't afraid of the moment, and I'm excited to see how they respond to these scrimmages and stuff like that, because I think they're a very, very talented group. So I'm really excited to see how they compete against each other and how they handle all adversity. But I got unbelievable trust in every single person that's come in here because of the way that they've bought in, and just they're ready to go with this program.
You never overlapped with Peyton Tolley, but you wear his old number here. I know you talked to him when you were in the portal about coming here. he had his big moment
Yeah.
earlier this year.
Right.
To start with the Red Sox and now on that ball club. What was that like to see him go from Wichita State to TCU, now playing pro ball, and do you see kind of yourself in his journey?
Dude, it's the coolest thing ever. I mean, he's a great guy, you know. I mean, every person that you talk to just talks about his character and the person he is. So I don't think it really could have happened to a better person, which I think is just, it's awesome for him and his family, you know, all the stuff he went through with his mother. I mean, he's a super tough human. So for him to be rewarded for all his hard work is awesome. But I mean, as far as my shoes, it was kind of just motivating. Like, I feel like I was sitting there watching it of like, wow, like this could happen. Like, I could go from Wichita State, go to TCU, get drafted by a team and be up in 2 years. Like, I feel like it almost not relit, but maybe added a couple wood to my fire of like inside of like, man, like this is a real possible thing of, you know, getting drafted and being up and the major is big. And I mean, he's been unbelievable. I mean, we're going to watch his wild card. They got the Yankees, right? That's going to be so sweet. So, I mean, good luck to him. He's going to be the animal he is.
You mentioned playing for Team USA. Noah Franco and Nolan Traeger also got to play on the younger squad for Team USA. Is there like a special bond that you guys have with that, or is it just kind of business as usual?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like anytime you get to hang out with your teammates, you're going to become closer. I don't know if there's sort of a special bond. I mean, I kind of feel that way with Nolan Traeger, with him just being my catcher, but I think it was a cool opportunity to get to hang out with those guys more and hang out with their families in such a cool place.
What is it like representing your country, wearing that crest?
Oh my gosh, there's nothing like it. It like truly like putting on the USA for the first time. I mean, it's just a feeling you'll never forget. And unfortunately, it didn't end up making the team, but you know, it was just an awesome week with awesome people.
All right, Sawyer, just talk about this summer, this offseason, kind of what you were working on beyond just getting healthy. What have you been working on at the end of year two?
Well, definitely the big thing is getting healthy, that's for sure. I want to be the best for this team, so it took a lot of time to get healthy, work on stuff. I was with Coach Dakin a lot, trying to get stronger, just my mental game, working on stuff that I can't do on the field, pitch selection, stuff like that. So I tried to focus more in on that stuff that I could do when I was trying to recover.
You and Franco and Traeger kind of headlined that freshman class last year. What have you seen from this year's class so far?
There's a lot of good pieces. I think we're just going to take the next step as having a year with us already. Like, we're going to definitely level up. We've got our feet under us. We know how it goes. So definitely take that next step.
There are typically a lot of expectations for TCU baseball that come in externally, right? And it looks like y'all are going to be top 10, top 15 ball club coming into this season. How do you manage those expectations, and do you have your own even higher expectations for this ball club?
Definitely have higher expectations. I think a national championship's the biggest thing, Omaha. I think kind of just block out the noise of everything else, be present, be with the team, be where our feet's at. And yeah, that's really it. I mean, expectations are high, numbers are nice, but don't mean everything.
So what you did coming into your freshman year, obviously having the season you had, the successful season you had, have you done anything different this offseason to kind of replicate that and do even better?
I think just knowing what I need to do. I kind of had to learn a lot last year. I know what I need to work on, so I kind of toned in those things that I needed to work on and knew how to get to places that I needed to be mentally earlier.
Think about this sophomore class and just how talented you guys are. We see, like, over years, guys really bond and really get close with each other. Can you just talk about the camaraderie of that sophomore group specifically and how you guys push each other?
Coming in as freshmen, we came in early in the summer, so that was a big thing. With each other every day, live with each other, around each other. Like, they're like my brothers. They're like family. When I'm not eating dinner with my family, I'm eating them with my other family, my brothers, my teammates. So, and I think a big thing is me, Traeger, Noah, the pitchers, we just push each other to be the best we can. That's a big thing, and I don't think it's stopped.
Are you looking forward to a couple scrimmages against other programs this fall? Are you going to be able to participate at all?
I think I might get a couple at bats. Well, it'll be close. We'll see. But it's definitely going to be nice to for these freshmen as well and the new guys to see how we do things. And we didn't get to last year. We played a lot last year, but it's going to be a little glimpse, a little sneak peek of what we get for the spring.